Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gens Before Friends. This is episode 31. I am here with my lovely co hosts. We have Morbid Plum
Hello.
and Queen AMG.
Good evening.
And we're going to be talking about a couple topics. First one is going to be Resident Evil 2v8 has been going on. And there's been a lot of I don't know if ups and downs is quite the right word, but some stuff with matchmaking going on, which we'll get to. But we got a lot of new cosmetics with this 2v8 theme. We got the Leon from Resident Evil 6, which I love because I have a soft spot for Resident Evil 6. And we have Ada from the RE4 remake, Jill's BSAA outfit, Rebecca got a Stars Medic outfit, Wesker also has an RE4 remake outfit, and they have Nemesis, the original game cosmetic. So what do y'all think of the new cosmetics?
I really like the Ada one.
Yeah, the Ada one's my favorite. I bought that one.
I have it. I
Yeah.
bought Leon and Ada.
I bought Ada.
I may end up with the Leon one, but yeah, the Ada one is great. And I'm so glad we got more cosmetics for Resident Evil.
Yes, it's been a while since we've had some Resident Evil content, and the Ada one is really popular. My youngest daughter loves the Ada cosmetic. She's like, "You have to have that one," so I got that one, and I had to get
so cute.
I think the Leon one. Well, I have all of Leon's other cosmetics, but so my husband and I have played a lot of RE6 because back in the day before we did PC gaming, I don't even know if PC gaming was big back when the PS3 was out. But this was one of the couch co-op games we would play together. So while it's not like the best in some of the storylines, I just like has a special place in my heart. And Leon's hot in it, so
Yeah.
can't complain.
Plus.
Yeah. He has another outfit in RE6 I wish they would bring in. This is like the outfit he wears at the beginning of the game, and then there's a different outfit at the end. So bring in the second outfit, behavior.
Yes.
Please. There was like some speculation that we were going to get Mr. X, and that was not what happened. We got the original Nemesis, which is fine. It was just rumor and speculation that we were getting Mr. X, but really Mr. X wouldn't have a power like Nemesis, so kind of glad it's not Mr. X.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just bring him in another chapter later. So along with 2v8, the changes this time around is we got, as killers, we got the Legion, Wesker, and Nemesis added. And we got the RPD map added as well, which is basically like the original map we got when RPD came in. Minus the open walls and stuff, I think. Because if we remember when Resident Evil initially came out, and we got this map, like, it was a huge map.
I love it though.
I do like it.
See it back. I remember how much I missed it.
Same. I mean, I got lost, I'm not gonna lie, but it was a fun map.
Yeah,
I
it
felt
is.
like I was home. No, I said I felt like I was home.
Oh, you felt like you're home.
I was like, oh,
it is a very
so nice
faithful recreation of the map from the actual game. Maybe less so since they opened the walls and stuff, but because gosh, let's go down memory lane. When they initially like released it, it was more of a maze because it was more closed off in the hallways and stuff. But yeah, we have the full map back again because that's how it initially came out, was both wings were open. Queen, why don't you tell us how you feel about Legion being in the game?
How about Legion being in the game? I don't like it.
Because like every match is Legion.
Dislike it so much. Yeah, in the very beginning, every single match was like a Legion. And
It is.
I'm not a huge fan of going against Legion in general. Because I feel like if you're not sure how to play it against the Legion, it can just go downhill so fast. Like the match that we just played before we started recording started to go downhill so fast with we were up against a Legion and a Wesker.
Do you think they were playing together? I didn't pay attention to the end screen.
I don't know because in the beginning they weren't necessarily together, and then eventually they kind of hooked up and Legion was hitting and Wesker was downing, which,
yeah,
you know what, 10 out of 10, that is a very good strategy, especially with the Legion. But our main issue is a lot of people were all grouped up, so they were getting multiple downs at a time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I haven't really enjoyed playing against Legion so much.
It's a lot of
But
mending.
it is. But I do feel like there's just people who, again, you have people who will not do gens if they're injured, and then having a Legion, well, it's like, I might as well just hop on a gen because they're going to get empowered
Yeah.
instead of mending and then expecting a heal. And then I feel like when a lot of the Legion matches start to go downhill, people start to DC or start running at Legion just to be downed. And I don't know. My Legion matches have not been super fun. I've either got like a really good Legion or like a baby, like someone just trying out Legion. There hasn't really been anything like in between. Those are my thoughts on Legion.
Well, of course, they had to add Wesker Nemesis, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting more killers to the roster for 2v8. And of course, this is already theme. We need all of the Resident Evil characters. And I love seeing also, well, Blight was in the last 2v8, but the
Mm-hmm.
William Birkin cosmetic with the huge
Mm-hmm.
eyeball, I love that cosmetic. So if you're a Blight player, please play that cosmetic.
Yes.
One of my kids was watching me play. She's like, "What is that guy with the huge eyeball?" Well, I'm
Why
like,
does he have an eyeball?
well, in the Resident Evil game, you have to shoot the eyeball, but in this game, he just chases you around. But I love that cosmetic, and it has its own like voice lines and all that. So, but along with this 2v8, they also implemented the character trial, which is if you don't have a killer or survivor from them that is available. I don't know if it was survivors too. I know for killer it was if you haven't played Wesker or Nemesis, you don't own them, you can play them in 2v8 and try them out,
Mm-hmm.
which I think in theory is a great idea. Because, for instance, I played with my husband and he does not have Wesker. He dropped out of DBD apparently before Wesker came out. He had Nemesis, no Wesker. But, like, the thing, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, is the queue times are kind of on the longish side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we played, like, it wasn't the first day, it was the second or third day of 2v8.
Mm-hmm.
And the queue time was still like 15 minutes. And it's just a really long time to wait to try out a killer.
Oh
And
yeah.
then he was all apologizing, like, I'm sorry, I'm terrible. I'm like, of course you're terrible. You've never played this killer before. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't expect you to be good at it. And, like, I'm trying to, like, verbally tell him how Wesker works. And he does not keep up with, like, anything going on with DBD anymore. So he's not watched gameplay or anything of Wesker. So, and I think that would be most people also trying out a new killer. You're obviously going to be terrible with that killer the first time you play it. And so I think the issue for me, like, I'm not saying they shouldn't offer it, but they got to get the queue times like under control, because we did a couple matches and then the third match we were going to do, we got kicked off the server,
Oh.
like in the lobby. And I was like, I don't want to wait anymore. Let's play something else. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to wait again, like another 10 to 15 minutes. That's my only complaint, is the queue times kind of killed the character trial thing.
Well, at the same time, too, watching people play, I kind of felt bad as I was watching like friends and stuff play and get in there. And then all of a sudden you realize you're playing against somebody who doesn't know how to play these characters.
Yeah.
And having matches where I was watching my friends play and he basically got like more than like 75% of the hooks because he had like a baby nemesis, didn't know how to play nemesis, which
Mm-hmm.
it's cool, good for trying it out, but is trying it out within the actual gameplay. And I know like 2v8 is supposed to be like more chill, but at the same time, just like the survivors want to do well, the killers want to do well, is that the time to try it out, or should it be more like a separate thing? I feel like it should be separate. Like you have a separate thing where you can play them and then like go in.
Well, okay, I have thoughts. I mean, people would argue that's what you have custom games for. I think
Yeah.
2v8 people are more comfortable trying out killers because you're with another killer. I will say trying out
Mhm.
new killers by yourself in the 1v4, matches is more
Mhm.
stressful because it's all on you. Like, you're the only killer in
Yeah.
there. And I feel like the 1v4 mode is definitely more toxic, and you'll just get demolished, right, with a new killer. And I've had that happen when I've tried new killers, or I'm trying killers I'm not good at, like Nurse or Hillbilly. Like, these are not killers I have like mastered in any way. And so I think people are more comfortable trying out new killers in 2v8 because you have your killer buddy to help you or to at least get some kills and get some pressure. Like, I think 2v8 is less stressful. I think also, and we might talk about this more with the health update, I feel like the game needs better tutorials. I think they should have a
Yeah.
tutorial for each killer. Like, it doesn't have to be like
Ooh,
super
yeah.
long tutorial, just be like basics of like, this is Trapper, he sets traps, you get a haste effect after you set a trap. Just a couple like basics and do a little like tutorial with the, bot. Because I think I would benefit from that with like killers like Hillbilly or Nurse, some of them that are harder. Like, can you just explain a little bit of what can I blink through and what can I not blink through? Like, that is really what
Yeah.
confuses me with Nurse.
That
Like,
would
sometimes
be
I
super
can blink through this
helpful.
wall, but I can't blink through this wall or this rock. And like, is there explanation for that or not? So I feel like if killers had like a short tutorial would be good. And like my husband playing Wesker for the first time, that probably would have been helpful because he's going in there like,
What
no
can I
idea.
do?
What can I do? And he's like dashing, and it's like you have to figure out the dashes, how far you can dash. You gotta get a feel for the killer, and it takes time to learn these killers, obviously. So I think doing it in 2v8 is probably your safest place to do it.
I do
But
feel more confident playing killer than the 2v8, like you said, because you have a buddy.
yeah.
I think it's different though, like if you have a buddy and you're on comms with them versus
Well, true, yeah.
you're not
Yes.
being on comms with them. And that's more what I'm saying. Like I get 2v8 is more of a safer place to do that. I personally, I know I don't play a lot of killer, but as I watch it, sometimes I do feel bad when you have one killer who's just really trying to carry it. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, because how sometimes toxic survivors can be, and I don't know why you would do this in 2v8, is then they start playing around with the baby killer. And then I feel even like worse. I'm like, oh, now you're just being mean because like survivors are realizing it and someone's
Yeah.
just trying to learn something. I feel bad for people.
Yeah, and I will say, I think 2v8 is definitely more survivor sided overall with whatever you think survivors can do. I mean, obviously, you can go get some really good killers and killer duos if they're on comms together. But I would
Yeah, like
say overall, my
still.
experience, I know you're going to talk about Stealth Hillbilly. Um, I know it's bad. I actually
What is
played
the
killer with
stealth
a stealth with
hillbilly?
a. I played killer with a Stealth Hillbilly, and he was amazing. I'm not gonna
Oh
lie.
my god.
It was
Oh boy.
beautiful, and it's just like you are the master. You're the perfect one. You're so good at this. Like, I helped you a little bit. I helped still steer survivors in your direction. But going against Stealth Hillbilly is hard too. We've gone against it too. But yeah, 2v8 is probably your safest place right now. I feel like for new. And I don't think there's any matchmaking in 2v8, I'm just gonna say. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
I don't think so either, because I don't want to say it felt evenly matched, but I never felt like I was not overpowered, but like I never felt like, oh man, I'm not in the league of any of these people. So I don't think there is any MMR on.
No, and playing on the killer side, I've gotten baby killers, I can tell, with me, and
Hmm.
especially considering some of the killers, the killers I do play in 2v8 are ones typically more experienced with. So I should be MMR wise with killers of my skill level, and that's not usually the case, I feel like sometimes. So,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. And Survivor, stop teabagging at the exit gate. Thank you.
Especially when you're up against a
I
death slinger. That
tried.
makes absolutely
Yeah.
no sense. I am not blocking for you.
Look, if I got paired with the baby killer, I did all I could to kill y'all, okay? And I tried not to tunnel and all that stuff. Like, this is supposed to be the fun casual mode. Like,
Yeah. Same.
everyone just chill and leave. Like,
Like I try not to tunnel anybody, but sometimes I'm like, wait, did I hit you already? Like I'm very confused.
I know when
So
there's a group of them, I'm like, I have no idea what's
yeah,
going on.
it's hard when there's 8 people.
Well, not only that, if you sit there teabagging, if I had more than a couple of matches, you're blocking the door for people to like run out too.
Mhm.
So if you want to teabag, you know what? Just go on. You know, I was about to say like man up, person up, and do it before you're at the end. If you want to teabag, you You
She
show
did.
your balls and you don't even enter the door and you teabag from there. That way people can go
Facts.
around you and get out because I'll
Facts.
tell you what, there's nothing more annoying than you group of people sitting there teabagging, blocking the exit, and you do get hit by a death slinger and pulled out, or because you can't get out, you get hit and they pick you up, and it's the worst feeling in the world. So
And even like
show
a
some actual
Wesker
balls,
too.
teabag outside. You know what? Teabag in the middle of the map.
I was about to say that. Go to the
Bag outside.
Go to the main
Show us what
building
you're worth.
and go
Or go to
teabag.
a hatch. You know what I mean? Don't do it at the
Yeah, be the last
right
one in the
there.
match. Play dangerous. Be Moriable.
Yeah.
Let everyone else
Yeah.
leave and you try to get hatch.
Okay, yes.
Here's
That's
a
what
challenge for 2v8.
That's all I'm saying. If you're gonna teabag, then you just do it in their face, away from me trying to get out the door.
Yeah, because
Please.
we had a lot in the last couple of matches that
I
we
know.
played. There were
Yeah,
like
I was
almost
sitting there like yelling at
everybody.
people like they could hear me. Just leave.
Well, I think we
I
were all
can't
at the
get
door,
out.
the RPD match, and like my rift was to take a protection hit, which I hadn't gotten, and I got it at the exit gate because everyone was grouped and like, can we go? And then like someone else got hit.
Yeah,
I'm like,
they're
yay, I
teabagging.
got it. Like, 'cause
And then we're just sitting there yelling, like, stop it, that's
I'm like,
rude.
every single one of us is on second hook, and there's a death slinger coming. People don't think about this. I don't know. I've never been a teabagger. I'm a croucher. Like, killers probably think that I'm accidentally teabagging like pallets and stuff. But I'm like, no, I'm just hoping I can crouch and walk around this and you won't see me and leave me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. In teabagging 2025. Or if
I
you're
don't.
gonna do it,
Well,
then just person up and do it right in their face and let me
I
escape.
well,
Agreed.
apparently like teabagging isn't new. It's in other games. I think the DBD community has just like exploded it into being a super toxic thing.
Yeah.
It's my
I think,
understanding. I don't play apparently the
I
games where
mean,
there's a lot of teabagging, but
in COD, I mean, we teabagged when I played Black
Oh,
Ops 2. Like,
I
this is
still see it
long.
in COD.
It's still around. But it was never like a rude thing. It was just like, haha, you're dead. And would like move on. And it was never like like you said, it feels more nefarious in
I
DVD.
think the community has just made a big deal out of it, is why.
Well,
And now the killers are doing the humping thing, so now we
yeah,
have
so that's
that
the thing
now.
too.
Yes.
One, I didn't consent to going down because you wanted to teabag.
Nope.
Two, now I'm gonna go down and I didn't consent to being humped either, and I wasn't the one that even did it.
Fact.
We can all stop this together and create
No
a
more
more
humping.
positive environment where there's no one having to do anything and worrying about consent in a video game. You know what I mean? Like,
Unless I've given you permission to hump me, then that's fine.
exactly. I mean, I will say, especially on what is it, the map with the school and the mattress, I'm not gonna say nothing's ever happened down there. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
there's
That'd be a
also one in
lie.
Ormond too upstairs.
Yeah, that would also be a lie in that one too.
Oh my God.
But sometimes you just connect with the killer. There's a reason why I play games like Hooked on You, okay?
That
And the
is true.
magic happens. Get not at the exit gate. Stop it. I want to get out.
You're just in my way.
Yeah, you're ruining the game.
Well, let's talk about the controversy, I guess, of this 2v8 mode, which was that they put bots in at the beginning.
Controversy.
So I guess we can go through a bit of the timeline, but when they started 2v8, they put in bots. Now the reason was they were trying to cut down on the queue time for killer, because last 2v8 was pretty bad with like 30-minute plus queue times. I will say with the bots, my experience is doing the killer queue was about 15 minutes. It was better than last 2v8, but still 15 minutes is kind of long to wait and queue for a match. So typically I queue up and then I like do work around my office. That's what I do. They had it where you could have 2 bots max in a match. And what did y'all think of having bots? I have
Okay.
thoughts.
I have thoughts too.
Let's see if we have the same thoughts.
I felt really bad for the killers because I'm not gonna lie. For the most of the matches, especially in there in the beginning, it was like us and the bots alive, and the bots were just running those killers like crazy. I had one match and I was playing with a friend, and I had a bot run the killer for like almost 4 gens. Like, they wouldn't leave the bot. I felt really bad. I was like, they've made bots significantly better, and I think it shows.
I was just gonna say that.
And
Like, they improved the bots, and it
Well,
was a
yeah,
lot.
yes and no, because sometimes they're good at looping if they're out of loop, but if you catch them on the edge of the map, all they do is run the edge of the map, and then they're not very
They
good. Like I
panic. They're
can't
like,
yeah.
tell. Like sometimes they're good, but
Well, the
yeah,
I think
bots
it depends on where
I
you catch
had,
the bot at. Like if you catch it
yeah,
out in the open, it's not as smart if there's not like it's not next to a loop.
yeah.
yeah,
Well, the bots, luckily, I was playing with, like, even after people left and, like, I was on hook and no one else was there, the bot came for me. And I was like, I don't know if I'd be, as a killer, if I'd want to be going up against these. But I also feel like another thing that happens too is I feel like people will readily just sacrifice the bots.
Hmm.
So no one was also going to
yeah,
get them,
that
which
is
then
true.
means that you were then down 2 people, which made the matches harder. So it was, well, the bots are either really outpacing everybody, or because they were bots, there was no sense of urgency and they were getting kind of tunneled out faster, where killers started to tunnel out the bots, and it just made it harder in the game. So I'm
Yeah,
glad that they decided to get rid of them, because one, I don't think it's fair to have these bots, especially when you have killers that are more like baby killers, have these bots running these killers like the whole time, or having survivors sacrificing the bots and then just making the game. I don't think they intentionally did it, but not thinking like, hey, logically, if we do this, there's going to be less of us and it's going to be harder. So I'm kind of glad that they took them out. I get what they were trying to do, but I feel like gameplay has been more fun since they took out the bots.
Yeah, and like
yeah,
if a
I
bot
agree.
gets down in like the end game, you're not gonna go try to like get them or unhook
Yes.
them or pick them up. Like I had a match the other day where this was no bots obviously, but like the killers were really trying to like slug in the end game, and of course everyone's trying to save them and stuff. That would not have happened if it was a bot that they had
Hmm.
slugged, right? Everyone would just be
Mhm.
like, "Adios, we're out." I will say, okay, so the other night Morbid and I played. Morbid got kicked from the server, so her bot was okay until we got to the exit gate. She 99 her bot 99
I
to exit
know.
gate, and then the killer came and she got scared and ran
I ran
off.
off.
We could have all
Oh,
gotten out. Poor TTV. It was just me, your bot, and a TTV. Three of us. And we
I was
all could have
so
gotten
upset.
out. But poor TTV got killed. I ran off and then I eventually snuck back to that exit gate. Your bot got out. I got
I know.
out.
I wasn't even playing, and I was so upset. I was
So
like, "What are you doing?"
again, bot AI sometimes good, sometimes not. I'm sure it's programmed to like leave when the killer gets so close, is what I'm
Mhm.
guessing. But it like literally the gate
yeah.
was like 99. Like the bot could have opened it, but like I was injured, so I was like, well, I can't take it.
Yeah, they're less
Like, oh my
inclined to
god.
take risks like that, or body block, or stuff like that.
Honestly, it was kind of on brand. I probably would have freaked out and been like,
Oh
"I gotta leave."
no.
But like no, well, I would have been screaming at you like, just open it, just
Just stick
open
the
it.
door.
It's 99. Like it was
It
seriously
was
like 1 second, not
it
even
was
to open.
so annoying. I was like, "This is why."
Why we
Oh,
can't
I
have
was
nice
so
things.
mad.
I
Your
know.
bot. Like
I mean,
TTV
that's
could
the
have
other.
lived.
I guess that's a whole other discussion. Is the like, I don't know if it's just me, but I keep getting kicked from the game,
No, it's
and
not just
it's
you.
okay, good.
I
And
have
then
gotten
they give me,
dedicated server kicked so much during this
and then I
event.
get a DC penalty, which I find annoying. It wasn't my fault. I got kicked out.
Well, I think did it say it was the server, the dedicated server?
Yeah, it said it was disconnected from the
Hmm.
server.
So I don't know. Typically when it says it's the dedicated server's not responding or whatever, I don't get a DC penalty.
Oh,
But I
okay.
guess it depends on how it interprets the disconnection, I guess.
I mean, it
Yes,
wasn't
I got
long.
kicked. I have been kicked so much, even before 2v8. I think there's
Yeah,
something going on with their servers. I have been kicked
because
a lot.
they did have that connection issue right after 2v8 came out, so I don't know if that was related to it or not. Yeah, it was just annoying. I mean, it was only a 30-second wait, but still, it was like, oh man, this sucks. Because I had almost all my unhooks for my Rift, and then I
Hmm.
lost them all.
You lost them, yeah. And I actually haven't been kicked at all, so not
I know.
anything.
She's been winning.
It likes you. The
Winning at
game likes
life.
you.
Oh, finally. Took a long enough.
I know, right?
Well, so because there was a lot of probably negative feedback about the bots, so Behavior did a lot of testing during this 2v8 event. So we'll kind of run through it. So on February 13th, they sent out a message that says, following tests with bots in the first 48 hours of 2v8, we agree that the addition of 2 bots has not helped enough. Average queue time only improved by 3 minutes, from 18 to 15 minutes, while frustrating players who did not enjoy playing with bots. So then on the 14th, they were going to do tests, and basically they were giving out a lot of rewards. Triple XP bonus to all players in all modes. Increase the Bloodpoint incentive for survivors to 400%, and this was in 2v8 and 1v4. And then they also reduced the lobby to one bot max. And then they said on Monday, on the 17th, they were going to analyze the data and share it, and then deactivate all the bots for a period of 2 days to compare the data. So that was the update on the 13th. On the 18th, they told us the results. So Friday's changes reduced the average 2v8 killer wait time by 3 minutes. Survivor lobby dodging and DCs did not increase and remain lower than in 1v4. Highest DAU since Halloween. Survivor wait times in 1v4 have increased but remain under 1 minute on average. Because apparently 1v4, which I haven't played since 2v8's out, apparently 1v4 suffers during this event as well.
That makes sense, though.
And so the takeaway, wait times are improving with less bots and high rewards, although matchmaking time still remains too high. We're keeping a close eye on increasing survivor wait times in 1v4. Next step was they were going to keep the 400% BP bonus, remove all bots, except for if someone DCs, obviously there'll be DC bots still. They reduce the XP bonus to 2 times. And they also say we're only able to apply XP boosts game-wide. And we want to see the distribution between 1v4 and 2v8 with lower XP boost incentive. So apparently they can't separate out in the modes the XP experience.
Oh, interesting.
Is how I interpret that statement.
Yeah.
So then on the 19th, they say after another 2-day test, we're back with a follow-up. And the breakdown was that with 2 bots and no incentives, the queue was 13 minutes, 8 seconds on average. With 1 bot, 400% BP incentive, and the triple XP bonus, it was 10 minutes and 40 seconds on average. No bots, 400% BP, and double XP boost was 11 minutes and 54 seconds, so almost 12 minutes. So the above represent averages and specific times may vary depending on the time of day or region. And their takeaway was while wait times have increased by on average of 1 minute with the removal of all bots, we know this alleviates some of the frustration experienced by players, so the bots will remain left out of the lobbies for the rest of the iteration of 2v8. In the 1v4, killer wait times have decreased by 1 minute since the beginning of 2v8, while survivor wait times increased by 30 seconds. And so then their next steps was they're going to keep the 400% bonus for survivor and the double XP boost until the end of the game mode. No more bots. And they sent out a survey, which we can talk about next. They sent out a survey, which basically, do you want to extend this game mode? And of course. Everyone was like, yeah. So it's been extended through, let me see, March 4th.
Yeah.
11 a.m. on March 4th.
So
the event time will be extended. Still going to have the 400 BP bonus for Survivor.
Woo.
The Bloodpoint bonus for 1v4 for Survivor will be 300. XP boost is not going to be expended. And no more. Still no bots.
Still no bots.
Still no bots. I think they're going to keep watching the queues and all that through this. But, I mean, I think it's good that they're trying to do things to figure out how to make the queue time better.
Yeah.
With no bots. I think we agree we need to have no bots.
Yes.
Agreed.
Definitely.
But yeah, the queue time is still like it's still long. I feel like 10 minutes is still pretty long.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I feel
I
like
mean,
it's better than the last one, but yeah. Go ahead,
yeah.
Morbid.
Oh no, say like you said, I appreciate them trying to like fix the problem and like getting our feedback and saying like, hey, you guys obviously hated the bots, like let's try it without them, see what happens, and we'll go from there, instead of just being like, well, we put the bots in, sorry, you're gonna have to deal with it. So
Well,
I
I
do
also, yeah.
like
No,
that
continue.
they
Sorry.
kind of, oh no, it's okay, no, so I appreciate that, like that's kind of cool.
Hmm.
Those were my thoughts.
But I also appreciate they actually did real metrics.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's what I
And
was
they
trying to
told
say
us.
was, yeah, like
Yeah, and they
they
told us like
actually told
this is
us.
what we did. So
Yeah.
we calculated the time with, without, wait times. This is what's going on with the other queues. Like I appreciate they actually came to us with data, which is something I know Morbid talks about a lot. Like, where's the data? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, they actually have it this time.
Yeah, because they actually like did an experiment. They were like, "Hey, we're
Hmm.
gonna run it with this without, and then we're gonna see what happens at the
Hmm.
end." And then it was like, "So here are our findings." And I'm like, "Oh my God, you guys actually did something."
Hmm.
So I was impressed with that.
Yeah. Actually, them testing does make me want to play it when they do testing. So
Hmm.
I actually sat in
Mhm.
Killer Cube more often when I knew they were doing this stuff because I was like, well, let me see if this is fixing anything or not. When they test stuff, I tend to want to participate too. So,
Because you know
but
what you're getting into and you
hmm,
know why now. So it's not just us sitting here and being like, okay, why am I waiting so long? Now they're telling you
yeah.
and you have more information and you can kind of prepare for it.
Hmm.
Like mentally and emotionally. I always have to prepare for mentally and emotionally when before playing DBD. But hey, now I know why. So I can sit there and you have an average time like, okay, so if I queue up, then I can probably run down and get a drink real quick or, hang out with my friends online, not worry about it. Or, kind of like
Yeah.
you were saying, do something in the office real quick without having to be anxious that, oh my gosh, they're suddenly going to put me into a queue because they're telling you the average is about this time.
Any other thoughts about 2v8s?
I enjoy it very much and it needs to become permanent.
I
Agreed on
agree.
that. I know
Hmm.
that's been Scott Jonas specifically said he thinks that's the cure for the queue times is to make it permanent.
Hmm.
I don't know if they're ready to make it permanent though. I think their statement when they first put in 2v8 was that they want to make it permanent, but they're not ready
Hmm.
to. And I think they're probably
Yeah.
going to want to put more killers in before they make it permanent. But I don't know. I don't know why they couldn't just put it in and add killers later.
Yeah, it would make it wouldn't be as I don't know how to get my thoughts in order. I feel like if they made it more permanent now, then they had time to see how that affected the normal queues, which is probably what they're thinking of right now.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And that's also probably why they did all the testing in order to create the metrics to see, okay, what happens to our normal queues? Because I have been hearing people have been playing, like I was watching some Spooky and some other content creators, that right now normal queues aren't so much fun, apparently,
Oh
because
no.
all the fun people are over in 2v8.
Yeah.
So, and I get that impacts, people who maybe don't want to play 2v8. Because I will admit, everything in DVD is so much more fun if you're playing with somebody.
Yeah.
It really is.
So the fact that you can have a killer buddy that you can talk to, or even TVA, I prefer, even though there's 8 other people there, my chances of survival technically should go up. It's not as much fun if I'm not talking to people or on comms. It's so much fun when you can talk to people. I get why, TVA is so popular because you're not limited to just 4 friends. I can have 8 of my friends now in there and just have pure chaos in the lobby, and it's fantastic. I feel like they should just take the jump and do it. Things will settle down, right? Because TVA, even though it's not new, when it comes in, it is like new, and people who haven't played it before are going to play it. But things will calm down, and they can find out how people kind of fluctuate depending going back and forth. Because I'll admit, like right now, I have been more tempted to go play regular queue because I have all out of 2v8 Rift stuff to do, and all the stuff that I can work on can really only take place in a normal queue.
Yeah.
People like me who maybe, okay, I've had my fill of 2v8, it's been really fun. I actually want to work on other like Rift stuff, can hop back over and other people can still play. And I feel like it will settle down and they'll only have those jumps once they add new people. And then it will kind of be like, oh, we have new people. I don't feel it would be as drastic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and people will jump back to normal queue when they come out with a new
Yeah.
chapter, right? Check out the new killer and survivor
Yeah.
because they won't go to 2v8 right away.
You have to give it time to settle. I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes people are afraid to make those jumps. Like, give it time to settle or have 2v8 be around a little bit longer to gather more data to see. But I say just push it out. It is more balanced than the regular queues, which I personally really enjoy. I don't have to worry about perks. Like, I like playing DBD with friends, but I like being able to go in and be like, okay, let me just choose. I'm going to be escapist today, and I don't really have much to worry about, and I can just kind of chill, and it's not like so much pressure. Because sometimes us survivors feel pressure too.
Yeah.
We do.
And I enjoy, being able to, because I'm a baby killer, being able to play killer with friends and be carried. So that's also fun. And getting killer achievements.
Oh yeah, that's like the bonus.
That's the best part. Because I'll never get those on like
Yeah, right. And regular.
a regular, just do it behavior. It will even out in the end. And I
Yeah.
feel like it'd just be better for the community to have this play style more often or bring it back more often instead of having longer gaps.
Yeah, I mean, like look at Call of Duty. People still play zombie version. They still play the regular version. Like there's plenty of game modes and people still play most of them, if
Mm-hmm.
not all of them. So yeah, it's just because it's new and shiny and we don't get it a lot. So I think we get excited when it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the last thing I'll say is I think, of course, this one has been successful and it makes me excited because since this was a Resident Evil themed one, I'm
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
hoping this will kind of encourage them. If we don't get 2v8 permanent, like, well, even if it does become permanent, you could do like events within 2v8, but maybe see another licensed 2v8. Silent Hill, please. I'm just going to throw that out here. Silent Hill.
I was
Yeah.
waiting for it. Silent Hill or Alan Wake.
Well, there's an actual, I feel like Silent Hill has more probability because there's actually a full chapter for Silent Hill
Mm-hmm.
and a map. You put Midwich in. So I feel like there's more content to work with Silent Hill than Alan Wake for 2v8.
Yeah, I
So-
could see that.
So, and I mean, I would love to get some more Silent Hill cosmetics. But just overall, I think hopefully we'll get some more themed 2v8 events,
Mm-hmm.
which will be a lot of fun. Because I think this one was
Yeah.
successful with all the Adas from RE4.
Well, yeah,
I keep
and
seeing.
yeah, they've always
So
had
many
success with their Resident Evil chapters too. It brings so many people in, whether returning players or new players, because it's such a love like game and franchise,
Yeah, that and they've done really well with the chapters for Resident Evil and the
Mhm.
killer design, map design, and all of that. So Resident Evil has been treated right, I guess is the way to put it in DBD. So I'm glad it's getting more love. I'm glad we got more cosmetics. I don't know if we need another chapter for Resident Evil, but
Yeah.
Mr. X, I guess. I don't know, but I'm glad this was a success because I look forward to the future of what else they will bring for the next 2v8. We can move to our next subject because this was kind of out of nowhere. I guess no one was expecting this update.
Mhm.
DBD announced that they are going to do a quality of life initiative for 2025.
Finally.
Finally, the thing we've been talking about
Yay.
forever. And like I remember Dowsy mentioned this like years, like
Mhm.
many years ago. Like it might be 5 years by now. Time escapes me, but it was a long time ago. He talked about like a health update. So they announced this on the 17th that they will do a quality of life initiative in 2 phases. And they had a whole forum post for this. And I do wonder if they're doing this to get ready for FNAF. There's been so much talk about, FNAF is coming into the game at the anniversary.
Mhm.
And I know the King has talked about like they need to do such and such things to get ready, bug fixes and all the things.
It's a big
So
license.
it is a big license. So
Yeah.
the anticipation is there's going to be a lot of new players come the anniversary event. Is that why
Gotta
they're
make that
doing
make
this?
sure that game works, you know?
Yeah,
Well,
that'd
yeah,
be
Five
nice.
Nights at Freddy's is
It's
huge.
huge.
It is so big, and it will bring in players, especially if you get to play one of the characters. They've always had to do something, and we've talked about it in the past, where we would rather them take a break and focus on some type of help update than just continuously pushing out chapters, which for the most part, when something does come out, then something breaks. So
There's always a
look
kill
at,
switch
yeah,
somewhere.
there's, well, and then sometimes they choose not to do the kill switch, and we just have to suffer.
Yeah, that's true. They're like,
But
Yes.
sorry.
yeah, I would rather them periodically do little health checks like this just to get the game working as best as it can, because that will make it more enjoyable to play. It'll keep people around. And I feel like everything on their update list that they want to work on is stuff that we've talked about in our
Mm-hmm.
podcast,
Yeah,
which I'm like, okay, awesome. Finally, someone is listening to our podcast.
right?
Someone, yeah, because we're the
I
only
want to
one
give us
talking about this
I
stuff.
want to
Yeah.
give us all the credit. Spooky, Scott, Otts, whatever. It was us.
It's
It
us.
was fully us.
Oh my. Okay, well, let's read through the forum post a bit because it gives some more details on the phase 1 stuff, and we can look through the phase 2 stuff and kind of maybe theorize what they're going to do for that. But they posted on the 17th that they'll be ongoing a substantial quality of life initiative, which should address many longstanding concerns and frustrations our players have been experiencing. It's going to take place over the course of 2 phases. First runs from April to June, while the second runs from July to December. And they had a whole graphic for it. To accommodate the scope of this initiative, we have decided to delay several of our upcoming releases, including chapters, rifts, events, modifiers, and collections. That means there will not be a PTB tomorrow. So that would have been on the 18th. But rest
Rude.
assured that we did not make this decision lightly. And this next chapter is supposed to be licensed.
Mm-hmm.
The rumors, speculation, they haven't teased anything, so we don't officially know what it is. But we've talked about the rumor is it's Tokyo Ghoul, which is a niche license. So that
Mm-hmm.
might be why they feel comfortable. I don't think they'll push anniversary, just my speculation. But like
No, I think they're
everything
gonna leave
else, I
that.
think they might push around. So we should be getting PTV soon. Don't know. We'll see if we get it this week or not. But next, they say we feel confident that delaying our upcoming releases to prioritize this quality of life initiative will ultimately make Dead by Daylight stronger than ever. We're always listening to our players, and this has been a long time coming. Thank you, about
Mm-hmm.
time, right? Just like we talked about.
Woohoo.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
forever.
then they have a breakdown of phase 1 a little bit. So they talk about the surrender state. The team has been working on a surrender feature which should limit player frustration on both sides. To get it right, we first need to identify the situation where its use would be most appropriate, leading us to 2 scenarios. First one, all remaining survivors have been slugged, or all remaining survivors are bots, and that's for the killer. So for survivors to surrender, it would be everyone slugged. For killer to surrender, everyone DC'd and are bots. So once these instances occur, players will be able to use the surrender option, ending the trial while retaining the blood points they've earned and escaping the disconnect penalty. So what do y'all think about this one? This has been talked
I'm
about a
thinking
lot.
that, yeah, I'm thinking that all those Lady Voldemorts now can, you know, just surrender when all the bots are left because no one wants to
Yeah, because
play against them.
she's so overpowered now that she's gutted. But
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but see, people still do it. Like, I'll be in a match and I'm like, oh, who is it? Oh, I can hear it's Lady Voldemort.
she's not.
And then it's all like the
I think
DCing out sound.
I think people are just like, oh, I'm out, even though
They
she's
just
not
over
strong.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all the like bots showing up because
Sometimes
everybody's like,
she's
I'm out.
just not fun to play against.
Though I
But
have
I think
not
this
had
is
anyone do
good.
that for me when I play.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe they're like, oh, maybe this is a decent person
Yeah,
behind,
hopefully.
Lady Voldemort. But
Oh.
Yes, I
I will
started
say,
playing
like,
Lady Voldemort a little bit. And she's buggy, but we'll get to that
yeah,
eventually. But
I like the surrender state because we have had matches where they've just slugged and left everyone to bleed out.
Yeah, bleed
And
out
it takes
timer is
forever.
it's 4 minutes. Bleed out timer is
Yeah,
4
it's a long
minutes.
time.
It is a very
Or
long time to
until,
stay
like,
on the ground. And if no one's running
Yeah.
unbreakable, then you're just all on the ground for 4
You're
minutes.
stuck there. And
And
then,
then
you
I've
know,
had
I
Oh,
just have
sorry, go ahead.
someone humping my butt the whole time.
Yeah, that too. But then I've had people like, oh, like they slug everyone and then they pick you up and then they kill you or like slug you again, and it's just annoying. And you just want to like, you can't DC because you're gonna get a penalty, and then like, yeah, I think this is a good one. Obviously, it's very niche. It not doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, I like that I have an option to be free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good change. Something needs to be done with slugging in general. And this would hopefully incentivize killers to not slug, or at least to know if you do slug everyone, this is going to be the consequence. Everyone's just going to leave your match.
Yeah, it would hopefully discourage, which I'm sure is what their plan was, is to discourage this kind of behavior, and that way it's not like a penalty, but it's like it lets you know, like, hey, this is not a good way to play the game, and if I do this, then I'm gonna screw myself over.
Well, the thing is, though, guess we'll have to get more information because I feel like if it is everyone is slugged and then the survivors choose to like surrender, I feel like some killers would be like, okay, challenge accepted.
It's true.
Because
Um,
there still is no penalty for them playing that way.
I
They're
was just
still
gonna
going to
ask
get their
that.
blood points as well.
Okay,
Well,
So,
because
like,
there's no
is this something they're
penalty.
going to be tracking?
well, I guess my other thought, how I interpret it though, also is killers want to slug people because they're being mean and malicious, right? They want to like it's like a power play, right?
Hmm.
And so if the survivors surrender out, they're not there anymore. Like you're kind of taking that power away from the killer. Like,
Well, that would end the game, I'm
yeah.
assuming, unless. And that's the other thing too. Is it if you're all slugged, if one survivor surrenders, is it for everybody or is for that just one survivor? And then say someone is able to like get off, like the killer picks them up and then they're able to wiggle off and maybe go pick up and re-get the game going again, rare, but
Yeah,
sometimes it happens. Are they now down a person or is there a bot? So I'm like, I have a lot of questions.
Well,
I
I
was gonna
don't.
say same here. Like I want to know, like you said, if I decide to surrender, is that it? Like it's completely over, or is like everyone else just have to sit there until
Yeah,
everybody
or
like
is there a
drops
time
out?
frame to surrender? Because there is a time frame, like say the last person that gets slugged and the killer like leaves them, say they do have unbreakable. Well, they have to have a time period where they can get up.
Oh, that's true.
So
Because
is
then,
there once
yeah.
everybody is down, is there a certain time period? Like, are they going to time it from, okay, everyone's down, and if the killer doesn't pick people up, and I don't know how long it takes to
Like
get
a
off
minute.
Unbreakable. Yeah, if the
It's less
killer
than a
doesn't
minute.
pick people up in a minute, then we're going to give everyone to the surrender option. Or is it going to be instantaneous, which means that if someone does have like second chance perk to get themselves up, or maybe someone is sitting in like a totem, like a boon exponential or something to get up, you need the time. So I'd be curious to know what the time frames are. The bots one I completely get. If everyone DCs out and you have all bots, then I feel like that is more like instantaneous. You'd be given the option right away.
Hmm.
But for survivors, even if the situation happened, I would still like just in case someone is able to get up to allow the time for that to happen before I'm given an option to surrender. And then all of a sudden, say someone does pop up and all of a sudden three people surrender and they're like, oh, hey, awesome. I'm here by myself. And
Well,
maybe I could have turned it around.
there is okay. So we haven't gone to it yet. There is another thing in this phase about perk loadout, and I think seeing everyone's perks. So if you're able to see everyone's perks, you'll know if someone has unbreakable. That makes sense.
Is that
You'll.
what it says though?
Okay,
I'm
so
not
I'm
sure.
looking at that on X right now, and someone asked about that, and it says at this time the preview perks and lobby quality of life change is only to be able to see your own perks in the
Yes.
lobby.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
okay, so my thing is, so the perk thing that you have
So
that
why?
that we don't have,
Oh, is that
I
what
think
you think
that's
it
what
is?
they're talking about.
Oh, I bet
I
you
don't
that's
know why you had
it.
it a year. I don't know why if you had it for like a year, but not
That's
everybody has that.
special.
And I think that's what
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
maybe so.
So,
Darn. They really need to do what mobile did and let you see everyone's perks.
because when I was reading it, I was like, perk loadouts and preview. If you just read it, you're like, oh, I can see everyone's perks. But when
Okay,
you go down and read into it, it says we'll be allowing players to see their own perk loadouts,
okay. You know what I'm
which I
But
was
thinking?
I
like, half people already have that.
You know
but
what?
I
I know.
know what my
Good.
perks are. Why would I care?
Well, I
Yeah.
know. I know. I'm thinking this because DBD did a Twitter post and like on Facebook and everything, like, hey, we posted this quality of health stuff like a week ago. What do you think? And Dweets, who's like one of the like in the leaking community and stuff, like
Mhm.
he responded about the perks, seeing everyone's perks. That's why I have this in my head. He
Mm-hmm.
mentioned it, so I don't know if he interpreted
Oh,
this
okay, yeah.
as that's what that means. Maybe
Because that's
that
what
I
I'm
think that's
looking
where
at
I'm.
that on
Yeah,
Twitter right now.
yeah, he says that. So I think that's why I had that in my brain. As but they need to add
And
that too, though, because it would help so much to know, like not just with the Unbreakable. Like if someone is running Deliverance, right? You need to know whether you
Mm-hmm.
need to go like. If I know like Queen's running Deliverance and she's gonna safe unhook, so she's good to go when she gets her first hook. Like I don't need to go
Mm-hmm.
unhook her. You know, if we had information like that, especially with solo queue, that's what, and that would help with the surrender state thing too. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you know a survivor has Unbreakable or Soul Guard, something to get them up, or
Or
the
if they have
boon.
a boon up,
Well, I feel
yeah.
like if the boon's up, it's pretty obvious, like crawl to the boon and get up, right? Now, if the killer snuffs the boon, then of course now your chance of getting up is zero again. So the killer, you're right. The killer side is really easy to like
Mm-hmm.
interpret, right? Everyone's bots. Killer's like, I don't want to play bots. I'm out. But the survivor thing is so situational, and it's going to be interesting to see if the game can interpret correctly when to offer the surrender option. I think that's going to
Mm-hmm.
be the issue. Is it going to offer it at the correct instances, or is it going to offer
Mm-hmm.
it too often and people leave early, or not offer it
Yeah.
enough, or not in all the right scenarios?
Because sometimes
It's
I'll
gonna
admit,
take a lot
yeah.
of testing. I think the
Yeah.
survivor side's gonna take a lot of testing for them to get it
Because
right.
we have had matches where it's been a slug, and then we crawled somewhere, and when the killer did decide to pick somebody up, they got off and they were able to get everybody up, and then we got the match going again. And it feels so epic, like when you get out of those matches.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's just my concern.
I
What
think
is the time frame for this?
well
And
and
it would be helpful if we could see perks to know, like, okay, I know that totem over there is exponential and someone's sitting in it. Or, I know mocking, is able going to be able to pick herself up and then she can't come get me. Or I know Christine's in an unhookable area. She can maybe wiggle off. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want there to be enough time frame for people if they do have something they can do to be able to do it before just I hate giving up on the game. I have been in so many matches, whether it was like a hacker or a really bad killer or sometimes survivors doing crazy things. I refuse to give in to the bullies. Like I don't like it because that's what they want you to do. They
Mhm.
want you to get upset and they want you to defee. I think I can only maybe once or twice have I intentionally left a match. But for the most part, I'm like, I'm going to wait it out and I'm going to be here. I'll hide from you if I have to. Like, I'm going to do whatever I can because I've earned these blood points or what a little bit I have. So I don't know. I just don't like the idea of surrendering and there being
the
an option for the game to get back in motion.
this is the issue with the survivor side. It's all dependent on what the killer does. Because like you're saying, well, what if the killer picks up? But the game doesn't know what the killer's going to
Hmm.
do, right? It's a human being behind there. You
Yeah.
don't know because this really the scenario being slugged is that the killer is just going to bleed everyone out. Like the scenario works if the intention of the killer is strictly to never hook and just
Hmm.
bleed everyone out, which we have had matches like that where the
Yeah.
killer
With
tries to bleed.
knockout and stuff.
Knockout. Well, remember Morbid, we had the plague match in Chaos
Oh
Shuffle
God.
where that's what she did was she bled out. She tried to bleed out. It's so dependent because you don't know if the killer's going to pick someone up last minute right before they bleed out and then hook them. This is where it gets tricky on the survivor end of giving the option because you don't know what the killer's going to do. The only other thing I can think of is they make the bleed out timer shorter, but I don't know if that's a good idea either because it's 4 minutes. And I mean, to be fair, 4 minutes is a long time to sit on the ground doing nothing. Like, I get, like, Queen, I get your argument of, like, I want my blood points, but then I'm also thinking, like, I can move on to the next match than sitting
Which,
here on the ground crawling
yeah,
around, you know, like,
which is the point. But I would
yeah.
also say at the same time, if someone is consistently doing this and there are multiple matches where they are slugging people and whole people are surrendering, then there needs to be some penalty for them. And I don't think it'd be fair. Like, and I know in the beginning, you're really not going to know, like, situationally what happened. I get that at some points, maybe there is like really toxic Swift or something's going on, and that is the best strategy for the killer. Minimal that I would probably ever think that. But how are you supposed to tell the difference between someone who really had to use it strategy wise to win or someone who they're just being a big jerk face and that's how they're playing? Because if that's the case, then I don't think they earned any of that. They shouldn't get their blood points. They shouldn't be rewarded for any of that. And
Yeah.
they hopefully would be tracking it in order to, I don't, for lack of a better term, discipline if that is what they do. Because again, it's just a power trip.
Yeah, I would argue slugging and never picking up would fall under holding the game hostage, my opinion.
Yeah.
And it would be reportable. So that happens, report it and see what happens if they do anything about it. Because if that killer gets reported over and over and over again, then yeah, something will probably happen and they might get banned or suspended. But yeah, the whole slugging everyone and bleeding out. I've never played that way. I have slugged some, but usually the slugging situation, my experience with slugging is typically with very altruistic survivors who are trying to do the flashlight save and trying, pallet save, flashlight save. So they're like all on me when I down someone. It's like, well, I can't pick up because they're going to try to flashlight or pallet saves. It's like, I have to slug to do that, but that's not this scenario though. This scenario to me is the killer slugs everyone and is refusing the hook. Now it doesn't say they're refusing the hook part. That's kind of the part I think that's implied here is that you're on the ground for 4 minutes. But again, it's like you still don't know what the killer is going to do, and you still have a chance to find Hatch theoretically if other people bleed out before you. It's so situational. Yeah. The survivor side is so situational. Like now that we're talking and dissecting it, I'm just like my mind is like all these like little scenarios that can move happen.
On really fast, and then all of a sudden my mind just started going because I hate surrendering, and they know I've stayed in awful matches before. We've all stayed in awful matches where we're like, okay, which one of us is gonna die this time? The other one try to get Hatch or get out, or make sure they never find you or die on your own terms. I feel like with survivors, it's less clean cut. And if it is something that's happening, then I certainly hope they're keeping track of the people doing it. But I also feel like if that's what's happening and situationally after a period of time, that killer is not picking up and hooking anybody, then they do not deserve any of their blood points and they should get a penalty. I think there should be immediate repercussions. Just like if you have somebody who consistently is going into games and just disconnecting. If you're going to keep track of it now, then I think like, and again, like sometimes power goes out and stuff like that. And I think for the most part, the game used to even have different icons when it was like an actual person disconnecting or like something else happened. But same survivor size. If that's happening, then I don't think you deserve anything. You deserve a penalty, like cool off time or something. They should incorporate that in there too.
Okay, let's move on because I don't know if we're gonna ever like. We'll just have to see what they do. Like, really, this is all the information we have right now. So we'll have to see what happens. Also in the phase 2 also, it says they're going to do continued improvements like with the anti-slugging and stuff. So while we're going to see some stuff coming up in April through June, I imagine there's hopefully they will share, like with 2v8, they'll share the testing and kind of what they've seen. I imagine it's something that's going to have to be tweaked for the survivor side a lot, and figuring out again. I feel like what's going to happen, they're going to either give the surrender option too often or too little. Like it's going to go one way or the other. It's getting their game to recognize when it's appropriate. And maybe they just haven't shared it in this, because this is a really short update. Like maybe they will share more of the details of like the scenario you need to be in to get the surrender option as survivor. Okay, next one is not a biggie. It's gamma adjustments. Dead by Daylight can get a little dark, not just thematically, and sometimes excessive darkness can hinder playability. We're introducing the ability to adjust gamma settings on all platforms, allowing you to find a sweet spot without sacrifice the intended artistic direction. This would be great because I don't use any filters or anything.
I do.
Yeah, I know you do.
He does. And I think that's nice that you won't have to have like a third party mod in order to fix this issue.
I also feel like I'm getting old and everything is like I need more light.
I know. I'm like, why is it so dark? And
I was playing Killing Floor 2 and I was like, gosh, I forgot how dark this game is. Dark. Turn the flashlight on.
I can't do it. Like in real life, I have night blindness. Like when I go out and stuff, I have a hard time with like depth perception because I'm getting old.
Yeah, the walker.
So I already do. No, I don't have a walker yet, but I have to adjust it to lighten things up. And also, I don't know why I play DBD when I don't like scary games, but it helps me be less scared if I have it lighter, and then I can adjust like contrast and colors as well, because some people see colors differently. I feel like it can be an accessibility thing too. So I'm glad that they're going to have something in game, because I would say that this does help with people who, have accessibility needs when it comes to visual stuff. I think it's a good thing. About time. I'm still going to use my filter though, because I have it at that sweet spot. So, but it'll be interesting to see what it does.
I would say we'll see what if it's as good as like the other filters
my
get,
filter,
or if it's like it doesn't go far enough. So yeah, we'll see how it
we'll
works out when it launches.
See too, because some maps are darker than others. Like Erie is bright, Coldwind's bright now. Like I feel like I need the gamma settings up for like other maps.
Yeah, right.
Not all maps. We'll have to see. The next thing they're going to tackle is the go next prevention. So the go next expression refers to instances where a survivor deliberately does everything in their power to quickly go to their next game, including walking up to the killer and standing still, running to a hook and repeatedly pointing at it, or most commonly intentionally failing skill checks while on hook.
Leon in our last match.
Oh, like, gosh, it's like every match. Well, every 1v4 match, I feel like. First person found kills himself on hook. I mean, we talked about this. So they say to disincentivize and properly penalize this behavior, we'll be implementing measures that will help us identify when a player is attempting to go next. Once identified, they'll receive a disconnection penalty point and lose an entire grade. We'll be keeping a close eye on the system to ensure its accuracy, but we're confident that this will help alleviate the issue. On the other hand, we'd like to reward players who stick it out through those challenging matches, even when things take a dire turn. We'll be moving forward with a new emblem-based multiplier that grants additional blood points during your following match, with the bonus stacking over consecutive trials. I kind of feel like I need a little more information, though, on this one.
I also feel like we're going to be rolling in the blood points, guys, because we're always the last ones.
We always stay.
This disconnection penalty point. So it doesn't say like you're getting a disconnection penalty like the 30 seconds, minute. Like what's a point?
So like the merit, like in school.
Like if you get so many points, what happens? And then it talks about losing a grade. So this is to do with your ranking and the emblem system kind of stuff. Because when rank reset happens, you get blood points for how high you get. So this is basically taking blood points away that you would get.
I don't know if that is like incentive enough for someone to stop. I feel
Yeah,
like if
I
that's what
don't know if
someone's
that is
doing,
either. I
they're
need,
going through so many matches, it's probably going to make up in the long run. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think
Mhm.
we need more information on what this point. It seems like a point system. Like if you get 5 points, like are you banned for a
Hmm.
day or what? Like I need more
Well, that
information.
yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know. Do you go straight to jail?
Like I just really don't get this behavior overall. Like I know matches can be bad. If you think they're going bad, just sit on the gen and let the killer pull you off the gen. Like just
That's what we do a lot.
maybe, we've had this situation where there's like a couple of us left and it's like, well, we can't do 4 gens. So what do we do?
Yeah,
Well, that's
because
what we normally do. We're like, okay,
Yeah.
let's pick a gen, we'll sit on it. And also, I feel like at that point, too, when you've had people like intentionally, having that go next, a lot of times the killers know. And I feel like the best strategy is just to, one, you can go find the killer and try to give gifts. But for
Yeah.
the most part, like 99% of the time, we're like, okay, meet at the gen, we'll sit there. We'll see if the killer pulls us off.
Just take me to
If
the
they come
hill for a nice
and
Maury.
they don't pull you off, then just stay on the gen and they might feel sorry for you. Or if they pull you off, then okay, you're off the gen. They can easily just pull you off. You're still getting points and they can just hook you.
Yeah.
And then we can all just go next.
Yeah.
But it also saves people from like hiding and extending the matches. Just put yourself out there, see what happens. 'Cause a lot of times at that point, the killer will either feel sorry for you or they'll be like, okay, cool, let me just kill everybody, get over it. We can all just go to the next game.
Yeah, because
yeah,
basically you're going to need to do objectives or something to not
Hmm.
appear that you're going next.
Hmm.
So I don't know. This is another one that's going to be interesting if how the game is going to interpret things happening.
What they should
Mhm.
do is start putting on profiles if they have a disconnection penalty, and then we can just hop their
Oh,
lobby.
What they need to do, I've heard of this scenario. I think there's games that have done this before where people that disconnect, they get put in their own like pool and
Heck
they have
yeah,
to play with each other. Like those their
all.
matchmaking is separate from everyone else and they get all matched together.
They
I
should do
was
that with all slugging killers too. Just
I
all
was
the slugging
just
killers and all the go next survivors just get all put into the same servers and they have to play together.
Yeah, if y'all are
was
like at the
thinking the
kid
same thing.
table of matchmaking, here you go.
It's like, sorry, you guys have to be in lobby jail together.
We can all be toxic together.
Y'all have
Well, we can
fun.
actually play the game and enjoy it.
They should do that. Have a pool for
It's
all the
been
people that go
so
next. Like
annoying.
y'all do that together.
Why?
It'd be hilarious.
Why? It ruins it for everybody. Especially I've had it a couple times in 2v8. I'm like, this is 2v8.
I
Just
know.
like,
It's supposed to be
stop it.
fun.
Why are we going next? Why are you
I
tunneling? Why are
know.
you slugging? I don't get this. Like,
Okay, okay, gosh. Don't slug
Uh-oh.
as killer in 2v8. Okay, survivors came back. Okay, I say this because this is like off topic. Tangent. As killer in 2v8, I've had another killer like slug people. I'm like, no, they can get up after they've been hooked
yeah,
once. You have to hook them like within a certain time period. Like I've had a killer teammate like leave people like entirely and I had to go try to pick them up because they can get up again. Don't slug in 2v8s. 2v8 is not for slugging. There are measures for
Nope.
that.
well,
Maybe
people can also.
that's
Yeah. I
sorry.
had one where like they slugged them all in like a row, and I just went person to person and got them up because I was the healer. So they were close enough for me and another healer to use our abilities and get like everybody up at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Just the whole point of 2v8 is you don't have to get them to the hook, right? You could just pick them up.
Yeah.
Just hook people. Like I don't know why we're slugging in 2v8. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Not in this economy.
No.
No, really.
Okay, go next. But we'll have to see what they do with
Rant
this. Again,
number two.
this kind of goes back to the surrender state. We'll have to see how the programming
Yeah.
goes on this one. And I feel like we need a little more information on the disconnection penalty point. Like I really want to know more about
I
how
do feel like it's a
penalized. I don't think the grade thing is a great penalty.
no. I feel like it's a
It
demerit
used to
system.
be back in the day when I first played DBD. It was all about being red rank. Like this would have made a dent and a difference when the game first came out. But since they've redone the emblem system and ranking and all of that, and MMR, the grade doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and I also feel like someone who is having this playstyle doesn't care.
No.
Because if they cared, they
Yeah.
wouldn't be going next. So I don't feel like that's big enough incentive for them not to do it when it comes to like their penalty points. If it is like a demerit system where it's like you get so many points and then is it like a temp ban or are you going to be blocked for a little bit? Like, what's that do? Also, if somebody is getting disconnect penalty points as a survivor, if I'm playing or even as a killer, I would want to be able to see that because then I can make a decision to skip out on that lobby or not,
Mm-hmm.
which might mess up queues, but who's going to want to play with somebody who is doing this when I can go play with a lobby of people who don't have, this kind of quote unquote mark against them. Like I'm sure it's all going to be back end, but if someone does it enough, then I do think something should be visually seen.
Yeah,
That would
maybe.
I don't know. Maybe I'm like an
Shaming,
extremist when it
public
comes
shaming
to
basically is what it is.
public shame, bells and everything. I want this person
See,
to be
The
shamed.
Scarlet Letter on you.
Games of Thrones styles,
Yes,
guys. That's what
I
I'm
want you
talking about.
behind me with. I want you behind that person with a big bell and just
Wait,
shame.
right behind them.
No, going back to Scarlet Letter, maybe they should have a special like T-shirt cosmetic that your survivor is forced to wear.
Oh my god, that would be
Oh my gosh, that
hilarious.
would be amazing.
You can't take it off until you do so many matches.
Or you stop. We'll see.
Mhm.
It'll be interesting if they provide us metrics with this, but I don't think I feel like penalty points is kind of a slap on the wrist. And then if someone doing this obviously does not care about their blood point at all.
Yeah, I agree. We need to know more about the points and like how many points actually
Mhm.
does something. If it's like a lot, then it's not gonna make a difference. Okay, next one, extreme hiding and body blocking prevention. Okay, so extreme hiding refers to survivors drawing out an unwinnable match by ignoring their objective and waiting out the clock. I feel like this goes with the go next thing almost.
I was like,
Mhm.
look, do we do this sometimes? Yes.
But
So
it's situational too, so
yeah.
I'll let you continue, but I do have
So-
sorry.
So to combat this, we're changing the way AFK Crows operate so they can more accurately identify when a player is deliberately avoiding engagement with their gameplay objective. Once a player receives crows, their location will be immediately revealed to the killer. We will also be incorporating a feature that allows players to lose collision after receiving a third AFK crow, which should prevent instances of body block related griefing. Okay, so I'll just say the last part I totally agree with. So the last part is talking
Mhm.
about killers trapping survivors, like in a
Mhm.
corner or
Yeah.
like, because there's like places like in the rocks and just places on the map where if you catch a survivor hiding there, you can block them in and basically trap them there until the match timer runs out.
Yeah.
So this
Mhm.
would make it
happened
so.
to me a few times.
Yeah, we've had it happen.
Yeah, so when you get a third crow, you lose collision. So as a survivor, you can get out of that situation. So the more interesting part we're going to probably dissect is this first part
Mhm.
about people hiding. And basically, when you get one crow, the killer's going to see you immediately.
I
But
feel like
there's
yeah.
but
No, go
there's
ahead.
ways to get around the hiding thing. Like if you drop your item and pick it back up, you don't get crows.
Mhm.
Just in
Oh,
case
that is
anyone,
true.
if anyone doesn't know that, that's the trick to not get a crow is drop your item, pick it up, drop it, pick
Is
it
it
up.
also going in and out of lockers? Does that work?
Out of lockers. So there's
Yeah.
ways to get around the crow thing. But it does say they're going to make it so it more accurately identifies when a player is deliberately avoiding engagement with the gameplay objective. So maybe that won't work anymore. Maybe the locker thing won't work anymore.
Well, I'm wondering
Boy.
like how they're going to be able to do this because there are some play styles a little more stealthy. Like for me, I'm not one of those people like when I load into a match, like I don't hump on a gin, hop on a gin. We'll fix
Oh
that
my
in
God.
post. Probably not. I don't hop on a gin right away.
We gotta re-say it better if you want me to edit.
Freudian slip.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we're
I'm
talking
not good.
killers humping, so like
No,
it's
yeah.
just on the brain.
Apparently humping is on the mind. I don't hump gens, guys, okay? But when we first load in, not one of those people who hops on the first gen I see. I'm a run to the opposite side of the map because I typically try to find the killer first and I can call it out. And then I like to be on the opposite side to kind of split up gen pressure. So I'm wondering if there's a time frame because, running from one side of the map to the other can be a little bit, and I'm not necessarily doing an objective, and I'm also not in chase.
No, but
So
running, you're moving across the map. Like I wouldn't think you would get a crow for running across
for
the map and leaving scratch marks,
yeah,
right? Like
I'm
you're making
wondering
your
what hiding
location
is
known.
like. If they're like you're just standing still, but there's also times where the killer's a douchebag. And at the end of the day, I don't want to give them the satisfaction of finding me. Like, if there is an unwinnable match and they are looking for me, I'm not going to be doing an objective
You
either.
can cleanse totems. That's about the only other thing
Well,
you can
yeah,
really
and
do.
we've done that. You can cleanse totems and stuff like that.
Open chests. You're
But
just gonna go around and
but
open every chest.
yeah, but it's safer to not do stuff with noise.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering like what the situation is. Like maybe this is not something that happens if like everyone is dead and it's just you and the killer, because then I feel like that is a perfect time to hide. I will wait it out because especially like say you have those maps sometimes where the doors are literally right next to each other and the killer can see them. And yeah, I can go and try to bargain with the killer, but if they've been a jerk to me the whole time, I'm not gonna give the satisfaction of killing me.
No. Maybe
So
no
I'm
crows in
gonna
the end game
yeah, I'm
timer.
gonna wait out that whole time. But is that not me doing objectives? Because I'm not trying to open the door.
Well,
I wanna know what they mean by ignoring objectives to wait out the clock. Because I feel like this waiting out the clock to me is the clock starts in game.
well, to me, I think this means it's before hatch is
In game?
closed. Yeah, I interpret this more as before. To me, this is running the 1 hour timer you have.
Oh, okay.
That's how I would interpret this because I feel like once you close the hatch, it's 2 minutes. So really, the game's going to end either way, right?
Yeah.
If you're talking about end game. Because once the killer closes hatch, it's 2 minutes. I don't feel like
Wow.
that's the issue. I feel like it's the issue where people are hiding and not doing gens, and you're still like 4 gens. And,
Mhm.
the match can last an hour before it disconnects. So I feel like this is more about waiting out the 1 hour timer. Okay, so next up on the health update is map offerings, which has been a big deal, I think,
Mhm.
in the DBD community. So, what they say is we recognize that map offerings are a bit divisive. Some players enjoy them while other players feel they can grant an unfair advantage. The fact that they automatically bypass both the map and realm repetition system can also add to that frustration. Moving forward, map offerings will no longer guarantee the appearance of a given map, but rather increase its chances by 20%. Note that they will not stack. We're also looking to make it so map offerings, as well as several other types of offerings, will remain a secret during load in. That way, your decision to remain in the match will not be swayed by external factors. So, basically, how do you feel about map offerings?
We've talked about this before with map offerings. Sometimes because the system, how they have it with how the maps are supposed to rotate, I still don't think it's super awesome. I would rather it be by realm and not
Yeah.
actual like map type, because then you can still get all the cold winds in a row. And I only need to see corn so much?
Well, they mentioned the
So
realm repetition system, so you
yeah,
shouldn't get the same realm. I'm also tired of Eerie Crows. I don't know what it is
yeah,
in 1v4 with Eerie map offerings
I
yeah.
used to like
constantly.
that map, but not anymore.
There's only one variation of it too, so that's what makes it kind of sucks. Is like there's not like different versions of it. There's only the one. I'm fine with this because really I rather play stuff for blood points and maps unless I'm trying to
Same.
do a specific rift where you need to like it's typically always the fall from a great height one where it's
Mhm.
Yeah,
like,
that's
okay, let's play
same.
Haddonfield or Ormond, somewhere with a 2-story building. I get why, especially killers don't like
Yeah.
map offerings. So I would be fine if they took out map offerings, to be honest.
Same. Why are they in there? Just
I
have it
was
randomly rotate. Like, I would rather them have another type of blood point offering or another offering we can bring in, not map related,
yeah. I was gonna
you
add that
know?
in too. If they're gonna do this, I don't see a point in having that. In general, I think the offerings need a rework
Hmm.
anyway. I mean, I know that's gonna be like that could be another episode, but I just think
Well,
there's a lot of pointless offerings, and I
Same.
think that they could be reworked and updated.
well, that's gonna go with our next one too, with the spawn rules.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
right,
They
right.
talk about the
Nice lead
shroud
in.
offerings. Yeah, so spawn rules.
You're
Survivor spawn
welcome.
placement can have a significant impact on the trial's outcome. An observation that has been repeatedly recognized by our community. It's become clear that survivors spawning separately and thereby covering more ground allows them to gain a notable advantage in completing their objective. We're changing the default survivor spawn rules to ensure that each survivor will spawn within 12 meters of one another on the same floor, if applicable. To accommodate for this change, shroud offerings will be adjusted accordingly. They don't say
Okay then.
how. So the shroud ones are the make sure you spawn like everyone together.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or make sure you spawn. Isn't there one to spawn farthest away from the killer?
Yes, there's
Yeah, that
one.
one too. And I will say though, yeah, sometimes you get I've noticed this more as killer. Like you'll get like 3 survivors that spawn together and one separate. Then you can just
Hmm.
Oh
target the
no.
one and get them out. Anyway,
I don't want to be by myself.
yeah, like being by yourself can be bad at the beginning. Or sometimes I've found, and I've noticed this on the Survivor as well, like everyone, the other 3 will spawn together and then like I'll spawn like really close to the killer. Like you spawn separately and sometimes
Oh
you're
my God.
close to the killer.
I've had it one time where I literally spawned right behind the killer, and I was like, really? I ducked down and got behind a tree so fast. Like, they didn't see me, but I was like, this is ridiculous. Even in our 2v8 match, Maki and I, and normally 2v8, you
Everyone's together.
one side of the map. We were just sitting pretty on a gin and realized that the only 2 of us
Yeah.
spawned on one side of the map, and all 6 of the other people were all grouped up on the other
This
side.
this was RPD, so we had
This was
spawned on the
RPD.
office and everyone else was at the
Yep,
Man, I
helicopter
was
everyone
side.
spawned
so
roof
far
side.
away.
Yeah, everyone was on roof and Queen and I were second floor
So
up
we
by
were,
the
yeah,
office.
by the bathrooms, yeah,
Yeah.
between off bathrooms, just sitting pretty on a gin as everyone else was getting chased around.
Yeah,
It
there's
was
nothing
insane.
worse than like you like load into the game and then you automatically hear like a terror radius and you're
The
like,
terror
wait,
radius.
More like a
wait.
chainsaw, like, oh no, 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 no.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is bullshit.
We've had
I've
those matches where we spawned, and I've had ones where like the killer saw me, I saw the killer. It's one of those, he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I just slowly walked away. I literally spawned right on your booty.
I was
There's
just
so not
leaving.
there.
I'll see you later.
Yeah. Peace out. Please don't kill me. It's not fair. But I'm fine with that. I feel like the shroud offerings can be very situational. I know when I was a little baby, I used to play the one to spawn furthest from the killer because I was scared. Or maybe we would play the spawn everyone together when we wanted to like do item switches if we had like a full swift
Yeah.
Mhm.
and we were switching items, but for the most part they're not used very often.
I
And I
haven't
can
seen one
understand,
forever.
yeah, and I can understand this from a killer's point of view. If everyone is so spread out, then they can have the pressure early. But if you have them all together, then they have to move to create that pressure. And a lot of times survivors just group up. They're like, oh, we're in this area. So again, that's why as a survivor, I always leave where I spawn. Gotta create pressure early.
Don't hang
But
out.
I'm fine with this rule. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's not something I think is gonna be awful.
Okay, I'm not sure on this next one. Improved AFK bot detection. Players that use AFK bots can be frustrating to have in your trial, and we're working on improvements to our detection system so that we can quickly identify and penalize them accordingly. To be honest, I'm not sure what this one is really about.
I was gonna
Is
say, like, what
this
does that
is this
mean?
cheaters?
How can
Yeah.
you
So
use the
guys, remember
AFK
when we
bot?
played like New World back in the day?
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
you would have those people that were doing like AFK fishing,
Oh.
and they would just have bots So that basically this is what it's talking about. And they would have like AFK bots like running into walls to not get disconnected from the server
Okay,
and
I was
stuff like
always
that. So it
yeah.
essentially is like a form of cheating. They're having a bot in there. I don't
Hmm.
know if we've ever really come across this, but apparently maybe
Apparently, it's an issue, I guess.
it might be an issue on other servers because we play on different servers because of where we live than other people.
Yeah, because that's not
But
something I recall ever
Oh,
happening.
yeah, we've never came across this, so that's why I was
yeah,
like,
so a
'Cause
bot just, or maybe we have and we just
we didn't
didn't
know.
notice, or we
My
were like,
brain
oh, that person's not here or something
my
like
brain
that.
was like,
So
"I can do that?"
maybe it's the survivor, and we were like, why is the survivor acting like a bot? Now we
yeah,
know
Yeah.
why. They were an AFK bot.
it was a big issue in New World back in the day with
I
all the
remember that
AFK
now.
bots. You go to like a
Yeah.
fishing hole to catch fish, and there's like 20 bots there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
I
you're
remember
just
that
like,
now.
"Why are there so many people fishing?"
Yeah, why does someone take the time to create an AFK bot? I don't
I
get. The whole
know.
point is to play the game.
Yeah, especially in this game, I don't get it. Like trying to like improve your fishing and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I guess I could see like in a game where that's how you like progress and increase your
Yeah,
skill, but like in DVD, I don't.
Mhm.
What are you doing with the bot?
maybe we can find like videos of the AFK bot
Yeah, maybe
and
we'll do some
see.
Yeah,
research.
because that
Yeah,
I'm curious about to see what it entails.
Okay. Bulk Bloodpoint Spending. To speed up general blood activity, we're adding a button that will allow you to spend blood point in bulk. Finally, don't take
no,
15 years to spend your 2
I
million.
know.
Also, when are we going to get rid of the blood point cap? I'm just going to say that right now. When are we getting rid of the 2 million cap?
Let me hoard, okay? It is my prerogative, and I would like to keep hoarding.
Well, my issue though is also with like, especially with like 2v8, right? We were talking about like all these blood point incentives, like 400% blood points. Like you're getting blood points really
Oh,
fast.
yeah.
You get them like, especially during events, you get them faster than like you can. Than it takes to spend them. It takes
Mhm.
forever, even though they've improved the blood web with the button in the middle to like automatically spend. It still takes like forever. You'll still take like 20 minutes to spend 2 million blood points.
Yeah, because the second we finished matches for 2v8 before this, I immediately had to start spending them again.
Yeah.
Which is funny because you were at your cap, but I've been going over cap.
Yeah, because I
Well,
was stuck right at 2 million and she wasn't, so who knows?
so if you get gifted blood points, like the daily logins, it will put you over the cap.
Mm,
But I think what you earn in match, it'll cap out at 2 million.
See, I haven't been capping out. I had one of my friends I was playing with him the other day. He
You're
was
still
like, "Hey,
getting.
you're almost at 3 million," and I was like, "I didn't even notice." Yeah, I have
Maybe
been
they
going
got rid
over
of it.
cap.
Maybe they got rid of the cap, but I did check in game today. It still says there's a cap of 2 million.
Yeah, but I
So
think it's weird because Chris, I keep saying your real name. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Because
get
Morbid,
give out her social
when
security number
I
nuts.
know. It's okay. It's already out there. Um, because Morbid, she was like, "Oh, I'm exactly at 2 million," which is really weird to be exactly
Yeah.
at 2 million. I'm like, I'm like 2,400,000 something. Like, I haven't had a cap this whole 2v8 thing.
Maybe they got rid of it
Maybe
and
they
didn't
just
say anything.
don't get
Right?
rid of my cap. It's like the little perk thing that you have on yours, mocking. Like
Yeah,
half
that we
people
don't
have
get.
that. Maybe half people no longer have a blood point. It's been nice not having the cap, by the way. I think it's stupid
It is
forcing
stupid.
somebody to spend essentially, and I can go on a whole rant on this too, but you're forcing somebody to spend an in-game currency that they earned, and you're forcing them to spend it when they don't necessarily want to. And I think that is stupid. If I earn it, I should be able to spend it when I want. And if I decide I don't want to spend it, then you just let it add up because it doesn't do anything. I can't buy like cosmetics with it. It doesn't give me any other real advantage other than unlocking perks, but I'm sorry, that happens for everybody naturally over time. So there's no advantage of me hoarding blood points.
Also, it's time you're not playing the game, that you're
Yeah.
not in the match.
Yeah.
Because it takes so long to spend them. It's not
Hmm.
fast. So would you rather us be in a lobby playing or sitting here
Or
spending
spend
blood points? Like
15 minutes to. spend blood points.
Yeah.
So
So, well, they're gonna make it easier to spend. So we'll see what exactly
just
that
get rid.
entails.
It's so funny. I feel like if they just got rid of the cap, that would be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let
Mm-hmm.
people just accumulate blood points.
I'm
And then,
wondering if
hey, you could do cool things. Like if you have so many blood points, maybe then you could buy stuff for doing on the blood points. Maybe they can be used to switch out stuff. Like I have 25 bajillion flashlights I'm never going to use. But I'd
that's
be
true.
happy to spend blood points and get some med kits or, toolboxes
That
or add-ons that I would use.
that
Didn't they
reminds me
have
of,
that
you're
They
gonna
in
make like a
say
little
mobile?
shop.
mobile had the
Yeah.
Hmm.
marketplace. Or if you could even just recycle items you're not gonna use and get blood points
Yeah.
for
Ooh, that
them
would be cool.
and get them out of your inventory.
I'm
Hmm.
curious to see how they're gonna do that. Do you put like spend 1 million or
Yeah, like put like
yeah?
200,000 into like Leon or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
go. Like you put a number in and be like, because I can't see being like, oh, put them all in this one character. But if you're like, I want to spend, this much on this character and this much on this one.
Yeah, because I don't want to like blow all of it in one go.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess
I
I
don't think they
could,
would do
but
that. Or say what level you want to get someone to, maybe.
oh yeah, that would actually be
That'd
kind of
be
helpful.
interesting.
And see
Yeah.
how far. Because typically, this is me. I I try to have all my characters like rounded in their levels. So it's like, okay, like
Hmm.
if
Yeah.
Leon needs like 15 more like levels to get to the next prestige, like, okay, be like, okay, well, spend enough to get him to that. We'll see what they do. All of this I feel like is we need more information,
I
but
know.
Hmm.
It's definitely we're gonna see when we get there.
yeah. So next they have a quest system previously announced last year, which I totally don't remember.
Yeah, I don't
Same.
remember this either.
The
I
quest
don't
system
recall
is
this
part
at
of a
all.
larger update to the archives and the rifts, so expect more information in an article specifically dedicated to that. For now, know that we will be reworking the challenge system as well as daily rituals to reduce the grind, make it easier to earn rewards, and increase overall level of fun. So more side quests is what this sounds like,
Yay!
Yeah.
and
Or
a
hopefully,
rework of the dailies.
yeah, easier stuff with daily rituals.
Look, all
Like,
all I've ever wanted is like a killer line and a survivor line. Like, give me
yes.
some
Yes.
survivor dailies
And to
too.
make them more generic, to make it
Hmm.
less do this with clown, do this with alien, make it
Yeah.
more as a killer, hit pallets so many times, because you're also restricting people who don't have those characters
Hmm.
as well. So I
Because
think
like
the daily rituals need to be more generic.
That's
yeah, like
true.
a simple daily system
Yeah.
that like
Hmm.
tons of other games have. Like,
You,
hey, I don't know, like throw 5 pallets or finish 2 gens or something like that
be
instead of
chased by
like
the killer. It doesn't matter
yeah,
by who. Like, be chased
instead
by
of
the killer for
escape.
120 seconds.
Yeah, escape as
Hmm.
well,
No,
like
you don't want to do
Ada.
that.
And it's
Escape
like
with an
I
item
don't
is one you could keep that they currently have
that
right
one's
this week.
fine.
Get rid
Yeah.
of anything that says escape. Because I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, I get rift blocked so many times on that stupid escape one because it's always at the end. And like the moment I get it, I don't
You
get
never
out.
escape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
get
want to
rid
do
of
any of that.
anyone that is like is so situational you have to get to end game. I feel like
Hmm.
any rift challenge you should be able to do through the course of the match and not having to worry about get to end game.
Yeah.
Like make it so I don't know, get rid of those stuff. I hate being rift locked. It's the worst thing in the world. Like I've been
It
working on
is.
this rift for 3 weeks because I can't escape a match.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I don't remember the quest system they
I
announced.
don't
Does
remember them
anyone
bringing
remember
that up.
this? Did I like just
No.
like
No.
forget it from my brain?
I feel like we keep on top of a lot of this stuff too. So
Or
was this something to
is this
be
something they
casually
mentioned?
mentioned?
Yeah, like one sentence, and then it was like, yeah, we totally
Yeah.
talked about that. Like, okay.
We're going to redo our quest system. Let's talk about the 15 new cosmetics that are coming out now.
Right? Was this on one of those
Probably
like
exactly what
For
happened.
fun. Here you go. Here's
yeah,
your next 15
you know how they
cosmetics.
released
Yeah.
like the graphics to like things coming up? They probably literally wrote quest system and that was it.
Yeah. Let's
Crazy.
get to the confusing perk loadout and preview thing we discussed
Hmm.
earlier. And Morbid actually found, and I have it pulled up now, that DBD did a separate tweet about it. So let me read what's in the forum first, which says, after a successful round of A/B testing We'll be allowing players to see their own perk loadouts while in lobby, as well as adding additional perk loadout slots, which is interesting, more perk slots. There was some confusion on DBD Twitter, I guess, because like I said earlier, I saw tweet about seeing other people's perks. And so they had a tweet that they posted under the one for the health update. So it says the perk preview update is a package of changes aimed at addressing newcomer quality of life in DBD. Our data shows that over 10% of new players never equip a single perk, which tells us that perk awareness is a problem for new players. We're also making another change alongside this new perk preview widget, which appears in the lobby. Starting with this update, when players unlock a new chapter, they will come with a single perk, item, and add-on pre-equipped by default. This is all in service of tackling the same awareness issue for these important systems. We also want to acknowledge the requests we are seeing about making perks visible across entire teams. This approach brings some risk, lobby dodging, chat toxicity, extended queue times, etc., but is something that is actively being discussed. So that was the update. So apparently we're not going to see each other's perks. But
Okay, so
still confuses me because one, I want to have the update you have where you can see your perks.
I was gonna say the same
It's
thing.
already out there for people and not all of us have it. So behavior, can I please have an explanation as to why I don't have that already?
That must be what the widget
yeah, the
thing
widget thing they're talking
is
about
that you've had for like
You've
months
had
for
and
a
forever.
year,
For like
whenever they
over
did
a
it.
year now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a bit since they put that in. Yeah, I don't
and then
know.
I never noticed it. And then I was like, wait a minute, why do you have that?
Well, they mentioned everyone getting something when everyone didn't. I figured it didn't go out, and then I saw unlocking. And
Yeah, because they did talk about it, didn't they? When
they
they
did
put it
talk
out,
about it.
and then
Yeah.
like, yeah, y'all don't have it. Now I
We're
gotta
not
start
cool.
like watching streamers and taking notes on who has it and who doesn't. Who's the chosen few?
I know who's
Yeah,
the
because it's not
chosen.
everybody. Because I do watch people. Not everybody has it. So I'm curious as to were you guys part of a test group and just didn't know? I wonder if it might have been
Oh,
maybe it's something you signed up for back in the day. You had it, and now they're like, we're gonna roll it out to everybody else
I
because maybe
don't
they
know.
tested it out. Like,
Did I
You guys were
secretly get
guinea
put?
pigs,
Did I secretly get put in the consultant program? I have no idea. No,
yeah,
I'm just
right?
kidding.
let us know if you guys already have the widget or not. If you have it, you'll know it, and if you don't, you'll also know. Like, let us know if you already have it
Maybe
because
maybe if I remember, I will put like a screenshot of like
like
my
a
screen of
screenshot
my
of
Yeah.
lobby
what
and
it
be
looks
like, "This
like.
is what they're
Yeah.
talking about over here.
Let us know. Are
This
you
thing. Do
cool
you
or were
have
you
this?"
forgotten?
If I was good at video editing, I could like highlight it and put like sparkles and glitter.
I mean, it's pretty noticeable, I
Yeah.
feel like, because it's on the
I love.
what at the right-hand side of the screen.
I think
Mm-hmm.
so.
It's on the right.
It's pretty
Yeah.
noticeable.
So you got like your four perk icons, so you don't have to
Yeah.
go click on the left on the where your loadout is.
What I was seeing on Twitter, I guess this is available on mobile or was RIP.
Rip.
You could see everyone else's loadouts.
Yes, that was on mobile.
Um,
That's why people want it in the base game.
okay. And I mean, I guess people would lobby dodge. I don't know. I wouldn't care. It would just help me be like, oh, this person brought this. Like maybe I can add something in to aid that. Or hey, they're doing a depth, so I know they're not going to be doing much.
Well, that
Yeah.
or
Or,
to help get them out though too.
mhm,
Or
Like
that
yeah.
too.
you know
Yeah.
what they're running, so you know, okay, they're doing a depth, so if possible they need to try to get out. If you care that much about like random people. But it does tell you what their goal is. And sometimes when people do that, they play selfish or they play normal. So it just depends.
Yeah.
But it does like talking earlier, like you would know if someone's like running deliverance. Like if you know someone's running
Yeah.
deliverance and it's active for them, then you know you don't have to go unhook them, and it saves you time of running
Yeah.
to the hook and then they unhook themselves and you're like, well, I didn't have to, you know, run all the way over
And
there for
also,
no
you don't want
reason.
too much perk awareness because the only reason I have the achievement power moves is because I had none.
Yeah.
That's where you have 0 perks and you have to
Mhm.
do a gen and escape like 8 times. That's the
Mhm.
only reason
Yeah.
I have power moves is because I was so bad at equipping perks.
Yeah, I don't know if this has ever been an issue for me. So let's talk about the other part of this tweet, which is like
Yeah.
that 10% of people don't know to put on a perk. New players. So let's talk about new players, obviously. I guess
Maybe
maybe this is part of the tutorial system that needs to
that's what
go
I was
in.
saying. Like the tutorial system needs to be updated then. Like that's something that should be taught. Because I feel like the only reason I really learned stuff is because when I came in, like you guys were already playing. So I had like my tutors
That is true.
Mhm.
could walk me through and tell me what I was doing. But I could definitely see when I have walked new people through playing before. And that's one of the things I would always be like, well, check your perks. Oh, what do you mean? Like, if you want to change your perks, you can get new perks. Like, none of that is really like super explained. And I
Mm-mm.
know some people can be like, well, you think it'd be logical, but not if you've not played a game like this. And again, that's probably the only reason why I have power moves is I would load into matches all the time when I was playing, most of the time with Mocking, and be like, oh yeah, guess what? She'd be like, you don't have any perks. And I'm like, yeah, I have none at all. So can you tell me if they have any aura reading?
Right.
I'm just gonna run around and I have nothing.
Yeah, I feel like the
So
tutorials need to be updated. There is a lot that's not covered. And I'm just going to say this overall, I can't imagine being a new player coming into
mhm,
2025 with
Oh
this
God,
game
no.
with how many killers and how many survivors and how
survivors.
many perks there are. I thought it was overwhelming when I started playing in like 2019. Like I can't imagine like
Yeah.
jumping into it now with all the content there is. I mean, I'm glad there's so much content, but again, we've been talking about all this quality of life stuff if it's for the upcoming FNAF chapter and the expectation that there's going to be a lot of new people jumping in. The one thing that is not on, let me double check the graphic tutorial, I don't think is on this list. The stuff for phase 2, which we don't have any details on, but what's listed is the anti-slugging again and the continued improvements. So what we also talked about, anti-tunneling, anti-camping, MMR update, map and key item balancing, which does need to happen because keys are pointless. Then under quality of life, they have keyboard and mouse on consoles, custom game improvements, which would be great, accessibility improvements. Oh, look, prestige rewards.
Ooh.
Oh,
They are
maybe they finally
finally
got what we talked about.
they
Yeah.
finally figured out what FOMO was and decided, oh yeah, we should actually reward our
Oh
players
yeah,
for playing their
FOMO is
game.
not a part of prestige rewards at all.
We've talked about this. That I think that will just always
Someone
something that's
doesn't
mentioned and
understand
talked
FOMO.
about of their being tone deaf and not knowing what they're talking about.
FOMO is when
Also,
you only give certain cosmetics for buying certain
yeah.
cosmetics. That's FOMO.
If you need a recap, there was a Reddit AMA where someone asked them about procedure rewards and they went on this whole like long tangent about FOMO and why they wouldn't do prestige rewards. Like totally whoever answered this question didn't understand what prestige rewards is, which is when you reach P100, you should get something for that.
I
You should
agree.
get a cosmetic because back in the day, back when the game first came out, you did get prestige rewards. It was really hard to do. It took a ton of blood points because basically every time you prestige your character, you would
You lost
lose
all your
all
items.
your items, your perks. You
Mhm.
lost everything. You started from scratch. So a lot of people didn't prestige, or they
I
would
never
try
did.
to run out of items and stuff and then
And then
prestige.
prestige.
And then so yeah, so if you have a character with a special like red background, that means you prestiged them before they did the whole rework to the system and the emblems and all the prestige reward stuff. So you used to get prestige rewards. You could get that's how you got the bloody cosmetics back in the day, back when I first started
Mhm.
Yeah.
playing. And so like if you had those cosmetics, that meant you like prestige them 3 times and did all of that, which I did do for a few characters. Yeah, so we'll get prestige rewards. I'm interested to see what it is, if it's banners, charms, or an actual cosmetic. The other thing they have is reduced login steps, which would be great because I'm tired of DBD taking like 5 minutes to load up.
For
It's
Yes.
probably
real.
not actually 5 minutes, but Actually, I think
Ever.
I timed it the other day. It was like 3 to 4 minutes. All the shaders. I don't even know what shaders are. I had this issue with Killing Floor 3 beta. I'm like, why are there all these shaders? Why is it taking you so long to load?
Oh
Like,
my god. It
please
makes
just
me
Loading
start
think,
this
yeah.
game.
it makes
Loading
me
up
think of the
DBD
Sims.
is like loading up Sims. I was about to say it.
Because you get reticulating splines, which
It's
what
just
are
all fake
what are
stuff.
splines?
And honestly, no, it's all fake. All they're
No, I
doing is
know.
they're putting stuff across the screen, letting you think something is happening just for the game to come up. But
Yeah.
I don't know why it takes so long to log in.
And then at the bottom it does say, and more, including bug fixes for long-standing issues.
That one I'm not excited about, but I'm interested what's going to get
Which
fixed.
bugs are getting? There are lots of bugs in this game. So we'll see. I think Lady Voldemort has lots of bugs. It says, like I mentioned, I started playing her a little bit. I haven't really played it, of course, with 2v8, but I started trying to learn her. I need to go watch Pixel Bush just came out with a guide for the nerfed Skull Merchant. So I need to go watch that. It's like an hour long. I haven't watched it yet. Because I feel like she's bugged because there are times you can't place a drone and it's not on cooldown. I don't get
Yeah.
it. Like, there's just bugs with her
Yeah.
and it's not consistent. So I'm just like, I need to learn how to play her, but I'm also like, I should be able to place a drone here. Like, I'm in Chase of the Survivor and it
That's
won't
That's
let
the
fine.
me
whole point
place
of
the
playing
drone.
her, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't place the drone in Chase. Like, this is how you want me to use the drone behavior. Can I please place it in this loop? Can I not place it next to this car? Like, I don't understand, like, what's going on. Again, I need a tutorial and I need the bug fix.
I would like a
So,
tutorial. Thank
I
you.
would like a tutorial. Short tutorial would not hurt. I'm sure it's a lot of work. Like, I'm sure it is. This
Oh yeah.
wouldn't actually be so much work though if they would have done some of this stuff way back years ago though, to be honest. Like, if they would have thought, let's do killer tutorials. And I'm not talking about like a long tutorial, just some basics, like, because I think playing killers, you do need to learn like as you play. You know, you're not gonna like do a tutorial and become an expert on how to do Hillbilly's chainsaw, but it should give you some pointers of like, this is how the chainsaw, you rev it, you let it go. There's the, well, it used to have the overheat mechanic, but now it has, you know, the overdrive mechanic. So, and then do, you know, thing on overdrive and how it works, and then be done. Like, it doesn't have to be long tutorials for each killer, but I'm sure it's a lot of work though. But it would help all the new people coming in a few months because it's coming up. Anniversary is going to
Oh
be here
yeah.
soon.
Right around the corner.
And we don't know how far back they're pushing all of the PTBs and
Other stuff, yeah.
releases. What I'm hearing is we'll still get a release from March, I guess. I don't know. I won't be surprised if we get PTB this week. I don't think they're going to push them super far out, but they did push this next license out. So maybe we'll see PTB this week or the week after. I don't think they'll
We'll
push.
see.
I don't think they'll move anniversary. I think they
No,
are
they're not
set.
gonna.
They've already
Yeah.
announced FNAF 2 as the anniversary, and so
I don't think they'll do much else.
Yeah, they announced it forever ago. I don't think they're gonna push anything, and
No, I
that's a
don't.
big deal. Their anniversary event.
Yeah, I think they'll like move everything else around it, and for this quality of life update, and keep FNAF as the anniversary, and just kind of move everything around. I am surprised I will give them credit. They actually are pushing like releases and stuff, because they've never done that.
Yeah.
They have never shown interest in doing a quality of life update before. It's a good thing, and hopefully they fix some of the bugs.
Better late than never.
Put some polish on this game. Also, Houndmaster is also still buggy. Fix Houndmaster.
Yeah. Fix Portia.
I know. I need
Fix
those.
everything.
I guess I'll play her again when we go back to 1v4. I don't want to go back. Don't make me go back.
I know, it's too much fun.
Okay, that's all I've got.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
It was a lot. Yeah.
That was the biggest news, was out of nowhere. They were like, hey, we're gonna fix it.
I know. I'm glad we kind of waited on recording because it was like, oh, here's this now.
Yeah, because this would have come out afterwards. So
I feel like we helped influence because they did release the news on my birthday, which I think just further proves that they listened to our podcast.
Yeah, which, I mean, you're welcome for, I don't know if it was the flu, but getting sick for 24 hours and we postponed.
Yeah.
I did it for the podcast.
You
We will
took one
always
for the
remember.
team. I
Yeah, we'll
appreciate
remember your
that.
sacrifice.
Yes.
Awesome. That's good. I'm glad.
Oh, well, let's also mention we have a new video on the channel, Morbid Play Dark.
Yeah. It
So
was
go
fun.
check that out. It's a puzzle game, really good art style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of
And
puzzles and like some jump scares, here or there.
mm-hmm.
And just a lot of trying to do things under pressure too sometimes. And it was a lot of fun. And I'm excited to play the 2 DLCs eventually.
Yeah, we'll get to those. We also recorded the first part of our Hooked on You playthrough, so that's
Mm-hmm.
coming up soon.
Yeah.
Where
I'm
we were,
editing that as we speak.
yeah.
It
So
was a
we're,
lot of fun.
yeah, we were romancing some killers. It's been interesting. So I guess we'll have one more part for Hooked on You. So
Yeah,
it'll be
it
a
should be a
two-parter.
two-parter. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a two-parter. So part one's coming out soon,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll have this episode, and I guess we'll go back. I told Morbid we could go back and do the Dark DLCs before we do my playthrough, because mine might be a little long for my
So you're
pick.
still doing Silent Hill, right?
I would like to do Silent Hill too, yes.
I'm so
Yeah.
So
excited
it
for
is
that.
it's a longer game, so I told Morbid if she wanted to do the DLCs for Dark first.
Yeah, because they were
We
pretty
can knock.
short.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna be
we can check them out.
like an hour to 2 hours, I think. So
Yeah.
one of
And
them
we
was
were
like
able,
super short, and then the other one was
yeah.
like an hour.
And we were able to fit the first one or like the main storyline into one episode. So I think it'll be fun. Because I'm sure
Yeah.
that Silent Hill is gonna be a long endeavor.
Yeah, it's gonna be a longer endeavor.
It's gonna be
It's
fun.
so it's
gonna
so
be so much
it's
excited.
so good.
fun.
Game of the year 2024. Okay, like I love Silent Hill too. It was so good, and I want to share it with y'all because the story is so good and just everything. I love it, and I don't think y'all will play it ever. So this is the only way I can think to
I
get y'all
will
to
happily
experience
watch
Silent
you
Hill 2.
play.
Same.
I guess that's everything.
Oh, we
Mm.
gotta wrap up now.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up, Queen.
All right. I got this. Also, if there's any games that you would like to see us play, let us
Yeah.
know. This is just part of our effort to try to get you guys some more content when we can't necessarily record and like edit a podcast episode because life has been very crazy for all three of us lately.
Yeah.
We do
Mhm.
the best that we can, and sometimes it's just nicer when we have time, especially with the three of us, to sit down and play a game. We prefer to do that than have to like outline an episode and plan everything we're speaking. So we appreciate you guys waiting for the kind of the increased time frame. I also said distance, like but increased time frame between episodes. There's just been a lot going on life wise.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
thank you to everyone who's been watching our gameplays. We've enjoyed your
Yeah.
comments and your likes. So if there's a game you think it'd be fun watching, hopefully your favorite Swift play, let us know. We appreciate you guys. And as always, we want to wish you a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are. And